Live and running. Live and running. Let's see what we can talk about today. Just going to set a few things up here. Already one person in. Good to see. Oh, goodness. No. 2 people in. Good. There's already 11 on board. Good to see. Hello. Fingalnut. I like that name. I'm just going to share it around. So just beware with me. Hello, Tom. So just bear with me 2 seconds while I share this around. 15 people in the chat, 16. Great to see. I'm still knocking heads in Melbourne. That's fantastic. The one Wade, make this trade period go quicker. You're telling me, mate. Hi, everybody coming in. Come on. Hey, all Australian. Love to see ya. Don't mind me just sharing this. Alright, that's on Twitter. The link's on Twitter. It's good to see. I'm just going to share on Facebook. Let's get this thing going. Get as many people in here as possible. Craig, Marvel Stadium looks horrid. I know. I stayed across from it. It was shocking. ThePear. How are we going? Not a lot happening today in the trade, let me tell you. It was it's been a pretty dull day in terms of any news from Port Adelaide. Let's let teams trade players without their permission. Oh, it would be very dangerous. G'day, Anthony. My barber used to do radio with you. Barber! Hang on. Matthew, Kenny. Great to have you in chat. Who's the barber? There's quite a few people that used to do... Oh, this is not focusing well at all. There we go. That's better. Tell me more. That'll spice it up. What's up, Zay? Daniel. Hey, Pear, my brother. I saw your FOW Showdown vlog. You were having the time of your life. Yeah, that was a big... She's a Kiwi lass. Oh! Yes. Chelsea. Nice to see you enjoying your day off, Anthony. Thanks, Ari. Hope you're enjoying your one of 7 days off per week. So that's good. That was not focusing at all. Do you think we'll give Houston to West Coast? Thick smoothie? No chance, mate. If that happens, I'm telling you now, the fan base will go mental. Because it's just not a good trade. West Coast need to get out of this situation and just not bother dealing with that bad of a deal. Got a bad feeling Jason Horne-Francis isn't going to get done. Should have just gone and got Graham. Part of me agrees with that, but also at the same time, you got to really risk a few things, and we're in a position where we just have to risk things. Did you see what David Noble said about Port? No, I didn't come on. What did he say? There was a bloke in the MLB who was warming up for his team and found out he'd been traded to the team he was warming up against. He then suited up and played against his old team. No chance. No way. Alright, this is just getting shared. I have to share this. Live now. Join in on some trade chat. Right, so we're not going to do this for too long, about an hour or so, but I thought I'd get some chat going. Hayes for Radigalia. I'll consider it, Craig, when you start spelling Radigalia right. Oh, Schumacher just smashed in F1. That's not good. Literally would rather keep nearly every player on else except Riley Bonner. I'll be bringing in Rioli. A lot of West Coast and North Melbourne are playing hardball at the moment, and they have a right to. That is part of the trade period. It's annoying when West Coast throw up names like a Houston Dersma. Butters was mentioned for the North Melbourne trade. It's pointless. It just delays time, and part of me is like, this is pointless. Why are we doing this? It's all part of the trade period. The deal that I would expect to get done, and I think because Riley Bonner's name has been thrown up, is the first two picks we have, both this year and next year. Pick 8 and the future first to go with Bonner. That'll get packaged up. A couple of late second, third round picks, perhaps. The 33, 43 in that we got with trading with Melbourne. I expect a couple of those to be used as well. And I don't see it not getting done. I think it's one of those deals where there's a bit of risk about it, or there's a bit of maybe it won't get done. But overall, I just do see it happening. In the last hour or so, the teams will sign it off. They'll be happy. All parties will be happy. And Wednesday night's going to be one crazy period. Then Gavs, good to have you on board, mate. I'll drive Bonner to North Melbourne myself. I've requested Australia Post to send Riley Bonner, but unfortunately, they don't take people. Matt Rendell's having a lot to say about this trade period, and I'm sick of him. No way, Bergman. Bergman is logical in terms of that trade. If you think about his propositions, and he's got a great talent, great future. He's already been here for 2 or 3 years. He has the sense of a go-home factor about him if things don't work out here, and he is a good talent, but he's worth using in that deal. I've seen that North Melbourne have mentioned more experienced players. If you keep mentioning experienced players, then why would you go after a Butters or a Houston? I mean, Houston, yes, a bit more experienced. Dersma, same as Butters. Bonner's an experienced player by now, and he could use with the change, and I think he's fallen out of favour. What might get this deal done is a bit outlandish, and I'm going to throw it out there because it's been spoken about, especially with Damien Barrett. Mitch Georgiadis. I mentioned it in a video a couple of weeks ago that I do not want that deal to go through in terms of trading Georgiadis, but the club does indeed need something to give. And if we give up Georgiadis, then I'll throw fists. But it scares me that that's the name that keeps popping up. I'd rather send DBJ than Bonner. Yeah, it was stupid to sign DBJ for a 3-year extension. I don't know why we did that. Shouldn't be in the leadership group either next year. So, well, let me know your thoughts. Give me some trades. What are you thinking? It's live chat. I want to see live chat for fuck's sake. If it's Oz Post, it would end up being returned to sender. Very good. I'm not letting Bergman go. I don't want to get him to go, but something's got to give. Man, you should hear Barrett's dribble on Trade Radio. Reckons we are a chance to miss out on all 3. Everyone's a chance to miss out on the targets they are trying to acquire. And he has a right to say that. But at the same time, I do properly think 2 of the 3 get done. And if I'm dropping 1 of the 3, it's Rioli. Highly doubt Mitch goes anywhere. Would be gutted if he did, but he's really a value to us. Absolutely is. What a pity Australia Post don't take people. Maybe throw some money their way. They'll take your money. They still won't throw the person over into their package. I couldn't care less about the Rioli trade either, and I was scared at one stage that we're going to come out of this trade period with just Rioli. Interesting. I was disappointed with Finlayson this season. I thought he would have been a better player for you guys, but he was not great at goal accuracy in front of goal. He can snap a goal though. Yeah, look, none of our players are really good in front of goal in terms of the set shot. But I will say, Finlayson's season was one of the better ones at the club, and I would not be slandering what he's done simply because of the magnificent achievements that he made in the ruck this year. Do you think we'll give up Butters no chance. You got more chance of seeing there be a sequel to Titanic. I would rather Bonner or Frederick to go. Ollie Lord might be up there. Some part of me wants Mitch to go, but some wants him to stay. Desmond, I don't want to go. Ollie Lord is a future talent. I would be looking after him. Bonner and Frederick should be the ones used as bait to get something, to give something else. Bergman's probably the key in the trade for JHF. Give North John Butcher for Jason Horn-Francis. Probably take Butch at this rate. Should just focus on dealing with North and Cats. Rioli is very low priority at this point. We don't need Rioli in terms of the targets we've now acquired to set out for. Radigalia, fantastic key defensive player now that he played in the second half of the year for Geelong in the VFL. And Jason Horn-Francis is perfect for our midfield combination. Gives a chance to let a few players rest, but also is a talent that we could have for a very long time. Midfield, Rosie, Butters, Jason Horn-Francis. Then you have Ollie Wines. Then you have Boak, Drew. It's amazing. David Noble basically said that we are in an upgrading point now, not a rebuilding point. For North Melbourne or for us, because we're definitely upgrading. But if it's North Melbourne, they're folding. Ollie has probably been the best player for me again this year. Dixon had a pretty good second half too. Rosie, by far. Frederick Rioli straight swap. I'd be sending a future fourth with that and signing the paperwork today. Evans is cheaper. Evans will pick up in the draft, in the preseason draft, or the listed free agency. That's fine. What was the AFLW fixture? Let's talk about that quickly because I very much enjoyed my time at the AFLW showdown last week. Why won't you load for me? Here we go. Final fixture. This is for Essendon at Alberton Oval. Sunday at 12:40. Of course, you're Sunday at 12:40. Actually, that's not too bad. I can go straight after work. Interesting. All right, back to the trade. Players we should be targeting are in that 20 to 26 bracket. Absolutely. Are you liking the Port Adelaide AFLW team? Absolutely. Not expecting results, just expecting some fun. Clearly, last week was our worst game of the year. But overall, the sense of achievement this team's had this year, we've got our first win. We've been very competitive in every single game bar one. The crowd atmosphere last week, power rules, absolutely agree, was elite. Especially with Hutto and I slandering the umpires, which was dangerous. Great to see 40 people in the chat too, by the way. Fantastic for your Friday afternoon. Call it the drive home if you're at work. I needed to share this on Instagram. I've forgotten to do that. Anyway, Pear. People already talking smack about Erin Fullers, but she's the greatest. The best AFLW player you'll ever see in terms of this generation to date. And I'm hoping that she'll go around again at the AFLW with Port Adelaide and see how it tracks. So the hair's looking shocking today. Ebony O'Day a chance in the men's side. She goes hard. Look, she could teach a few of the boys how to go about it. Down back, she's absolutely sensational. O'Day, she's hard at it, very competitive, and just an amazing footballer. How good that the Adelaide 36ers beat the Suns the other day. It's funny because obviously Hutto's Jack Hudson's the media manager, and he was just there. Well, he wasn't there, but thriving in the opportunity that the 36ers did something historical, and that was really enjoyable to actually sit there and see that unfold. Can't wait for night games next year at the Adelaide Oval in the AFLW. Absolutely. I think the more it grows on, especially with the attendance last Friday night, 20,000 people, that's absolutely extraordinary. You'll see more of it next year. See what I mean? It's a very quiet trade period day. Day 5 is always probably the quietest. And what about Sam Hayes going to either North Melbourne, West Coast, or Geelong? One of the players if we want. Sam Hayes is an interesting one. I don't know exactly what his value is. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying I generally don't know where he stands. So Radigalia for Hayes would be a good trade in terms of value to value. For North Melbourne, I look at it and go, well, Goldstein's getting older, so maybe they would like a key ruckman. West Coast probably don't need that. I just don't see where the value is in that in this trade. Hayes would go all right at West Coast after Nick Nat does his 1700th ACL. Not even ACL, just 1700 injury in general. I'll just go here to say, so I have the power got any? I'll just go here. So have the power got anyone apart from Horn Francis? We haven't got anyone yet. We just did a trade for picks a few days ago with Melbourne, which is probably was a smart thing. I thought, oh, here we go. We're going to light up some work. Jimbo, look, I think for all three trades to happen for Port Adelaide, Horn Francis has to be the one to be done first. Don't be surprised if, in fact, it ends up being Rioli, Horn Francis, all in the same deal with the West Coast, part of the trade, and then Radigalia gets done last minute. That's my word. That's my thinking. So, we'll see. Just scrolling through Twitter. I haven't done much of that today, so it's looking to be just mainly Formula 1 and supercars. Look how wet it is in Bathurst at the moment. Butters, Rosie, Horn Francis, Wines and Bogue. Absolutely elite for next year if we can get the JHF. I've got to stop saying JFH. Are we desperate for Rioli? No. I'm not desperate anyway. Radigalia over Junior? Absolutely. One of Sam A's can go. Too confusing for me. Well, since Sam Mays has already been delisted, we might end up with no A's at the end of this this season. Francis Evans as well. You think, right, you have a fit Fantasia, and you have Francis Evans and Jed McEntee. I think that's a pretty good list of small forwards in terms of your depth and also your main key parts. Because don't forget, you have Lockie Jones and Powell Pepper probably running through there as your defensive forward pressuring act players. So there's obviously no room in all of it, but I think you can adjust without getting Rioli. That's what I'm saying. Nathan Rudney, you've said a perfect point. I'm just going to touch that up. Chris Davies and Jason Cripps are absolute professionals. They know what they're doing. So many people mention, oh, these deals don't get done. Oh, this is not going to get done. Or very unlikely it will fall through. North Melbourne want to keep him. I'm telling you now, with Chris Davies and Jason Cripps at the helm, this will get done. We always go about it professionally. We'll consider things. And we know how to get deals done compared to other clubs. 43 for Radigalia. Yeah, that seems about fair. Send that off. Get that done today if you're going to do that. But I think we use the 2 first rounders and pick 33 in that. And if we can, we'll scavenge a second rounder somewhere because we have to be in the draft. I think we just pick up someone extra, an extra defender, if anything. But I don't think there's going to be much we can do with what picks we've got at the moment. Oh, have I missed a couple of things here? We could always use Dylan Williams. He's been playing down back now for the Magpies, but I don't see him doing much in the Maggies. In the Power outfit next year anyway. It's more of a progress deal if you look at it. Progress day, sorry, not progress deal. Bassini's obviously going to be down back. He's our depth. What players are North going to expect? I think Riley Bonner will win North BNF next year if they take him. Absolutely. Take Bonner. I don't care. Get rid of him. All right. You know what we'll do? We'll go through the port list of 2022. And I'll go through each player and say who's required or not. Can I get this playing? Yes, I can. All right. Here we go. So we'll start from the top. So 1 to 40, whatever the numbers end up. Hang on. What we got here? Do you think the Crows will get Rankin? Does he worth? Yeah, pick 5, and that deal gets done. He's a good player. You got to pay a little bit more over for what he's been doing, but that's just the quality of the player he is. And we're going to do the same for Horn Francis anyway. We have plenty of people to play Bonner's role. Half our team's Bonner's role. What do you think Jace will play next year? Jace Burgoyne. Yeah, probably plays on that halfback flank for now. Give him another year. Probably have his second year blues a little bit, but I think overall, he's going to be a gun, Burgoyne. Should we get North to throw in Polek? I don't want to see that bloke on Alberton headquarters again. All right, let's do this. Tom Jonas, yeah, required. Powpepper required. Burton required. Marshall required. Houston required. Motlop gone. Dersma required. Sin, interesting one he's been discussed in. A lot of injuries in the first year. Didn't come up to the hype that we expected. But I think he's going to be a gun and someone that can replace Amon. Robbie Gray, is unfortunately gone. Boak, definitely required. Finlayson, required. McKenzie, probably stays. Fantasia, required. Bergman, required. Amon, gone. Wally Wines, required. Clury, definitely required. We're short of defenders. Bruce Abernathy, required. Butters, definitely required. Mitch Georgiadis, required. Rosie, required. Aaliyah, required. Dixon, required. Williams, usable. Farrell, required but usable. Sam Hayes, usable. Bonner, tradable. Teagle's required. Willem Drew, a lot of people won't agree with me on this, but he could definitely be used as trade bait. Drew as trade bait. Go on, somebody argue with me on that one and tell me why Willem Drew should stay. Because he's a tackling machine, but not a damaging Tom Kenobi. I knew that would come through. Anyway, I'll continue on with this. Scott Lycett, required. Ollie Lord, tradable. Skinner, gone. Hayes, gone. DBJ, tradable. Lockie Jones, obviously required. Burgoyne required. Schofield's gone. Vizentini required. Jackson another year. McEntee, I think, sign him. Dumont is going to stay on. Mead is just signed. Frederick tradable. Pisani keep. So Drew is overrated. No way. Big swinging test Teakle. Yep, I fell for that. Horn pushes Drew out of the 22. Agree. Drew is overrated. He's only getting games because there's no one else able to take his spot. But once Butters and Rosie really develop, Drew's actually lucky Boak and Robbie are coming to the end of their careers and Robbie's retired, because I think if they were in their prime, Drew wouldn't be getting a go. My dad predicted early in the year that Drew would be Port's BNF. I don't know what he's smoking at the time. Don't know either, but he'll be top 10, I think. He's one of those blokes that Ken Hinkley's starting to love, and I think he's going to become one of those love childs again. Yeah, I'm open to Drew being traded. I feel that he's peaked. Yep. I think that's fantastic. Dog's going to go because someone's home. Burn Jones can go. I don't know why we signed him for 3 years. Pittard, yep. That deal was sensational. Drew is a keeper. I love the effort he puts. He always puts effort. I'm not going to question his effort. I just think he's not a damaging player. We should have just got Graham and backed ourselves in to get Horn Francis back in a few years. He's not going to, come into the team and make a major impact straight away. I'm showing my pen up. Can't wait to see what Ken can do. Apparently, Horn Francis said that the reason he's coming to Port Adelaide is Ken Hinkley. And that you got fans that won't even come to watch Port games because of Ken Hinkley. Well, he's got 1 more year, so we'll see how that progresses. Imagine coming to Port Adelaide because of a coach, and the coach may or may not be at the end of the next year anyway. I'm going to read comments on here because it's a lot. I'm just zoning in and out. It's going to be a massive first showdown next year when we have JHF up against Rankin. That's if they don't get injured. 57 people watching now. Absolutely fantastic to see. Pick it next year as well. We've got to build up for that. Don't start, Anthony. I was having a good day. How do we get Pickets next year after selling the farm this year? Great question. One I haven't thought about too much. I would suggest that maybe a few trades come into play. Spankin' Rankin. Josh Carr, coach next year. If Ken Hinkley doesn't win a flag, absolutely. What if we threw Ken Hinkley in the trade? Well, pick 8, future first, and Ken Hinkley. Clarkson may not be coaching next year. You could throw in a coach instead. Drew for Cozzy. I think we're going to be trading a lot more players coming the next few years. And that's going to be the tough deal we're going to have to deal with as fans because we have no control on what happens. Flag chances, Theo, from 1 to 10 next year. It's 3. Yeah, I agree with that, Jimbo. Relationships are really, really good with his players, which is fantastic. But it just means complacency. It means we're complacent, and that's exactly what's happened. Do you think we'll make the 8 next year? I do. I think we bounce back. How big? I don't know, but we make the 8. A lot of teams around us, the competitions haven't been closer. And as I said in the review, if we pull 2 or 3 of those 6 to 12, the 12-point losses, the 2-goal losses, I think we had 6 or 7 for the year. You pull 2 of those, 3 of those, and we're in the 8. Like, that's just how much of a difference it makes. How many Ports Premiership players are coaching at the moment? There's about 6, I think. You got Kingsley, Hardwick, Jew. I'm just trying to think. Who else is there? Help me out here. 7 in total, okay. I like that we got Josh Carr. I don't want Wingard. Don't bring him back. There's no story there for that. Lade. If Wingard comes back, this is just a weird trade period. Why don't we get a senior assistant? Josh Carr is the senior assistant. But because we've got no money in the coaching department, he's also going to be the midfield coach, which I don't mind. He's a very good midfielder. But I'm glad he's back on board at Port Adelaide because we won't lose a showdown with him on board. Hello, Cardman. I saw your performance in Dosso's 5v5 game this morning. Not bad. 14 touches. Invest in a pair of boots, though, buddy. What do you think? What do you mean don't bring Wingard back? I loved him when he was with us. That's when he was with us. Then he turned crap. And we did. That was one of the best trades we've ever done. Is trade Wingard. Because look what we got in return. Bassett is not coaching the forward line. No, but he's coaching the defence. And the last time he coached defence was in 2016 to 2018. And look what happened in those years. 16 we sucked. 17 elimination final against West Coast. 18 we choked from 12-4 to not make the 8. So I don't know what to think. We're just recycling things. Tanner Bruin is at Geelong. Geelong are just getting everything handed to them. It's magnificent to see. GWS's draft pick hand is very, very good, though. I need something to be positive about. You know what you'd be positive about next year? The fact that it's going to be a new year and you just hope for the best. I'll tell you something right now, though. Matthew Kenny, let me tell you something. Positive thinking, right? When you see the names of Radigaleo Rioli and, most importantly, Jason Horne-Francis on the official trade list to Port Adelaide at the end of the trade period Wednesday night next week, this place will go mental. Port Adelaide will have a rejuvenated energy in them that I've never. I saw the energy when we announced. Well, not we announced that Horn Francis announced he wants to come to Port Adelaide. The place went off. Social media was mental. It was phenomenal. Good place to be a part of. He called you a dummy. Oh God, I want to hear that story. Burgoyne's going to be a star. Magnificent. Another year of Todd Marshall dominating up forward. Connor Rosie is going to be in the midfield again. Kane Farrell's going to take a step forward. Burton, Houston, Butters, all going to take their next. He's called all fans unintelligent. He hasn't watched ThePear then. Butters won't leave us yet. I said this privately, but I might as well say it now. Out of the three, Rosie, Butters, and Dersma, I think Rosie will be a one-club player. And that's just my opinion. But I do love Butters and Dersma. There's a lot of future at Port Adelaide. Just looking through, seeing if there's any updates for today. 3 flags in 5 years, 3 years left. Time for a dynasty. Yeah, 3 in a row. Oh, goodness. Who's going to be our number 8, number 9? No. Jason Horn-Francis does not get number 9. Number 9 should be retired next year for a year without Robbie. Number 6 is available thanks to Motlop, so I think Horn-Francis, if he comes to Port Adelaide, will be number 6. Yeah, it has been Cardi. Just Tanner Bruin going to Geelong. I saw that just before for pick 18. Yeah, just read this. There's a bit of talk around the town that Port don't want to lose a player. They're getting to the managers and making sure they aren't putting any players up for West Coast and North to get involved with. Not going to help our cause if that's true. No, I'm not changing Rosie to 9 from 20. You make your own number. And Rosie's number 20. So unless there's any plans in place for Robbie to hand it over, I'll full respect for that. But if not, there's no changing for the sake of it. 61 people in the chat. Holy crap. Just give him one of our useless players. Could name a few. Kingsley, Hardwick, Chris Scott, Voss, Brad Scott, Dew, and McRae are all coaching now from the 04 Grand Final. Insane. Then you've got Lade as well. Josh Carr as a senior assistant. It's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. It's going to be a massive weekend of trades. A lot of big talks will happen, but eventually, if push come to shove, clubs will fold in. They'll take the 3 picks or someone, and it will just happen. It just always happens. Do you think we'll see Dersma keep a spot next year? Yeah, absolutely. Deserves his opportunity. He's had such a hard couple of years with injuries and stuff, so full pre-season under his belt, he'll be there. Do you think Horn Francis will come to Port still and the trade still work? Yeah, he'll come. I don't see exactly where it works out, but someone will have to fold through. Would you say Boak, Dixon, and Jonas all gone next year? Boak, no, 50-50. Dixon, 50-50. Jonas, they're all 50-50 to be honest. But Boak will probably play, plays to 40. Deadline day will be massive, absolutely. By the man, I'm going to be at a different club next year. Oh, is that locally, Calm One? Who are you going to be playing for? Jonas 1 more year, Dixon 2, Boak 3. That's perfect for me. Jonas might not be captain next year, though. Charlie Gatto. Perfect trade, period, if you ask me. What numbers might Will Ashcroft, Jasper Fletcher, Josh Dunkley, and Jack Gunston wear at Brisbane? Dunkley wear number 5. Will a number 38, 13, or 25, Jasper? 8, 13, or 25, Gunston number... Ashcroft gets a very high number, if you ask me. Probably a number 8. Gunston will go around to 25. And then probably Fletcher gets a 38. I don't see him going with a low number as yet. Do you think Rosie and Desmond will have their best year in 2023? Absolutely. There's no peak in sight for those two. What days does the trade period end? Wednesday, and I think we might do another live stream on the deadline period as well to see if that comes through. To be honest, I see Bokey being a personal trainer once he retires from footy. I think he becomes part of the fitness regime at Port Adelaide, if I'm honest. Massive pick swap between Lions and Cats. Should Port draft Dunkley if the Dogs let this deal slide? Yeah, absolutely. If we can't get Jason Horne-Francis, go after Dunkley. Go back to Graham. Something. Passini to debut next year. Yes. Passini has to play next year. I think he's a big part of the future for our defence. Growing a bit of a gut here. He's the perfect conditioning coach. Bokey, I think he's absolutely sensational. Where would you play Asawa? He's a key backman. He's the perfect type of key backman we need. I'm playing him there because he played the second half of last year in the back line for Geelong. Something they might have identified as maybe they could use somewhere else. And he played very well in the VFL by all reports. So that's what I'd play him. Yeah, Liam Gavs. I'm sort of the same, but I've been sick of targeting the draft because it just becomes a time where we're just like, yeah, great, we've got this young kid, but he's not going to be what we need and what we want for a few years. So how does that work? I feel like David King at the moment. What's our brand? Not a lot happening. Not a lot happening. Thoughts on why Mitch had a rough year? Form, carried a bit of injury. Not quite the year I think our forwards would have liked. And obviously, you include the team's form. You just... 2 and 2 go together. And that's just a young player still finding his feet. And that's the forward craft still being learnt as well. And you can see once Dixon obviously wasn't a part of the team and in that first half of the year and Marshall was developing, Mitch Georgiadis was trying to find his feet a little bit. Marshall kicked in, Finlayson started scoring some goals and he sort of went with the flow with that as well and became a more of a targeted forward more so than just going for every ball. And he's still got to learn a bit of craft about that. Not going up with other players go up. Voice is key. We saw he learnt that a little bit back end of the year with marks against Freo and Geelong. He learnt when to go and he took them. What are your thoughts on Chad getting the leadership group to rile up the Crows before the showdown? Do you think we will try to use the same tactics later in the year? It was definitely a publicity stunt, and it worked. So I don't see a problem with it, but I think try that in the first showdown when the season still means something, and let's see if we can get a response. Try that in the first year when you don't know what to expect. We knew we were going to go in there and absolutely pump them. That's why we did it. Like we were beating down on the little kid. So do that in the first year, and I think I'll love it a lot more. I still loved it, but yeah, I wasn't going to bite into it because I knew exactly what was happening. Hinkley wouldn't know what to do with established players, therefore prepare for Josh Carr with young guns. And we saw what he did at Freo, like his assistant coach there, and look where they ended up. They made it to a semi-final with a young crew and a young crop of players that are really going to develop into something, and they've been really aggressive this trade period. So keen to see exactly how that all pans out. Bang on a bit more about champion data if you're feeling like David King. Champion data, bro, is a crock of shit. No, I'm not going to be David King. I've got a bit more respect for myself than that. I just saw a vid that said maybe it's SPP to West Coast. Surely that won't happen after his efforts last year. Was it my vid? Because last year I said he might go to West Coast, and look what he ended up. He ended up with the superb UMB top 3 in our BNF. West Croydon, come on. The Hawks, they are. Not a bad club. Didn't do too bad this year either, I don't think. Do you think Kelly Underwood would be replaced on the trade table? The Orange team. Kelly Underwood. That woman. Interesting. My understanding is that West Coast will be happy to let that one play out, and if they don't get what they want, they will let him walk. Yeah, West Coast are being the pain in the asses about this whole situation. This is the problem. They are causing this to be a lot more complicated than this. They're like the third wheel on a date. I feel Port is just missing something. We definitely have the capabilities to be any side, but it's all mental. The capabilities we have we have it all, but we just don't have that mental capacity to win games at crucial moments. Prelims, the games this year, we're scarred. We're scarred from 2 prelim losses. But even then, before that, holy shit, just look at the trade that just came through. Hang on a second. Hold the phone. What trade? Trade paperwork lodged. The Geelong Cats trade, it's round 2 selection 38, and it's round 3 selections 48 and 55. It's 2023 round 2 selection, and it's 2023 round 4 selection to the Brisbane Lions for its round 2 selection 25. 25 is going for Ollie Henry. Ollie Henry is 25. That's a lot of selections. That's a lot of selections. When is that BNF? Can't find the date anyway. It hasn't been announced for a date yet because it's going to be a combined event between the AFL men's and the AFLW sides. That's what's going to happen there. $38, $48, $55, future second and 4th round picks. Bizarre. Do you think we'll struggle to retain the likes of Butters, Marshall and Mitch when Kenny leaves? Nah, not particularly. Not particularly. I don't believe that. Players have to understand it's a business. They can't go where and when they feel like because of a coach. You know, it's change always happens at football clubs, and if you don't like it, yes, definitely go ahead and leave, but nah, I don't believe so. Josh Carr is our next coach, guaranteed it. No need to look, he'll take it, and I think that would have been mentioned in a contract. What gets Asava done? And this is why I think Geelong might have done that trade, is because they'll get something like a 43 back. I think that's a fair deal. I don't think anything else happens with the Sava. 43 gets done. He wants to leave. Geelong don't particularly need him, so 62 in the chat. Holy moly! If you've got any questions, I know it's coming up to 10 minutes to 4 o'clock and here in South Australia. And as I said, I'll do this for another 15 or so. We'll get to the hour mark. There's not a lot happening, but I did want to converse a little bit. Obviously, we haven't done a lot of videos through the trade period, and I think I wanted to get a lot of your guys' opinions. So if you got any questions come through, please, by all means. Thoughts on McDonald, Tip and Woody if Rioli falls through? No, I'm sorry. No, I don't really particularly think we'd need McDonald, Tip and Woody. Most guys need to understand that Rioli, 2 years missed, 16 games in his career, and then he missed majority of last year as well anyway. Sava and Lee are going to be good together. Dynamic duo. So, all interesting. All interesting. Let Rioli go to preseason drafts. He's not worth what West Coast want. Well, West Coast make it so hard. Honestly. AFLW this weekend, by the way, Saturday night, Hawthorn versus the Port Adelaide Football Club. So get around the girls if you're not doing anything on Saturday night. That's the other thing with that deal as well with the West Coast and Brisbane. What gets Dunkley done? Does Port just walk on over and go, hey, here's pick 8. We'll have Dunkley. Bye. Who wins the BNF? Oh, Connor Rosie. Just. Pal Pepper would be my guess for a Smoky. But I don't know what gets Dunkley done, though. Fascinating. He doesn't particularly. He chose Brisbane, and I think his sister plays up there for netball, I'm pretty sure. I know his partner plays in South Australia for the Thunderbirds. Oh, pick 8 for Dunkley now just seems fair. If you're going to do it. Yeah, we just saw that, Craig. Going by the voting, Amon wins our BNF. What a joke. Umpires, honestly. It just shows, though, Rosie will get votes in the future. I could see something wild happening on the last day, like Dunkley getting done for 8 if Jason Horne-Francis falls through. Yeah, absolutely. I can see it. This trade period's got a lot of wild twists to come. And I think a lot of the doors start to open on Monday. Obviously, a lot of discussions and breaks happen over the weekend. And then we start going bang, bang, chat away. And if my guess is we'll lose Bergman and Bonner. That's my feel. For some sort of trade. Trades that'll happen. Oh, well done, Hutto. Well done, Hutto. That would be unfortunate. I really like Ray. I do, but I just don't see. We have to give up something, I think. When does the trade period finish? Wednesday, 7 o'clock, I'm pretty sure. So, expect a few things to happen. He was very ill earlier in the end. The docs that were taking care of him misdiagnosed him. Is that what happened? I know he had... I can't remember what the disease he had. He was sick, I know that for sure. He had COVID to start with, if I'm right. Who moves out of the midfield for Horn Francis next year? Be a rotating thing, so you'll have Wines, Rosie, and Horn Francis, Butters, and Boak, Drew. Throw a few others in there. Don't forget Mead is a key part of next year, I think. Mead will play more game time as well. Going to give up Butters up for JHK. Who's JHK? JHF. Yeah, right. No, Butters does not give up. Come on. Be realistic. Maybe Dunkley goes to North. Imagine that. Leaving with anything less than all of 3, or instead Dunkley Rats. 2 out of the 3 is a fail. These things have to get done. Port have to do these. It's as simple as that. You can't talk a big game. Say we're going to be aggressive. They're showing their aggression, but not actually complete the deal. This will be like our actual season. Houston to the Eagles for Junior Rioli. What else are you giving? Houston for Rioli is by far the most one-sided trade I've ever seen. And that won't happen. So don't even get me razzled up about it. Exactly. Signed 5 years in March. Wrong player to approach, West Coast. Jason Horn Francis for David Koch. Pick 33 as well. None of that. Rioli and Dunkley, Matt Phillips asks. 2 out of 3, nah. Still want more. I still want Radicale if that's the case. SPP is right there. But they look at Houston. JR should not be worried about. Yeah, I agree. Houston to Eagles for their pick 2. Yep. Boak for pick 2. Craig, shut up. Boak's not going anywhere. Tell you what, some of these trades that I'm seeing in this chat at the moment should be on Trade Radio. Some absolute absurd. Bathurst qualifying is on soon. Give Bonner pick 33 to Tigers. Try that way. Get Timmy G to put the boots back on. I'd ask him that and see what he says. Wines for free just for banter. Piss off. At least we get some hard nut with Timmy G out there. Rev the guys up a little bit. What else is happening here? Anything? Not particularly. They're just going qualifying at the moment. Bathurst. I'd take Wines just so I could sit him on the bench for the entire season. What? That's Charlie Wines. Thank you very much. That's Brownlow medalist Wines. Thank you very much. Yeah, see, I think Kenny gets a good idea. If we gave up a player, I think it's a half back. I don't know. Yeah, it has to be one of the 16 we've got. Trade Bonner and pick 8 for Dunkley. No, that's paying overs. Do you think Clarkson or Fagan will coach next year? I don't want to touch on that subject if I'm absolutely honest, but in shorter terms, no, I don't believe Clarkson will. Fagan, yes, he'll coach. Check out Noble's review on our side for the year, for next year. I don't really care, to be honest. His opinion is about as good as Matt Rendell's. You reckon Sam Hayes is going? I reckon he's very tradable. He's trade bait. Trade bait would be Bergman, Bonner, Hayes, Frederick. And if you want to throw a little bit more experience, DBJ, but we just signed him, so. Pick 8 and Bonner and for Dunkley and Sweet. That's because Sweet's your mate. Noble's a clown. Thank you. There really are not a lot happening today, is there? See, if these deals don't get done, we start to get made a mockery out of ourselves. I've just seen a meme where the bloke's a clown wearing a port hat. Like, we've just got to get these deals done, man. Otherwise, we're in trouble. Corbett. I'm not even going to bother looking at that. Wines, Boak, and Jonas for Corbett. I'm not going to comment. Do deals happen over the weekend? No, they don't. I think it shuts down, I reckon. Comes back on Monday. Free agency stuff can happen still. Official trades, lodges, and stuff like that. Weekends get stopped, so they will start up again Monday. You'll see a few drop in Monday. Tuesday gets a bit busier. Wednesday, you dare question Corbett. Pick 8 and Bonner for Toby Green. I'd take it. Thoughts on Goldsack coaching the Magpies next year? Probably not going to have much else to choose from, so I'm happy for him, and hopefully he changes that around and we become a bit more competitive. I'm not questioning Corbett. I'm saying the trade. Trade shit. Wednesday's going to be crazy. I've got the day off Wednesday, so I'm going to be sitting there all day just watching trade radio, the trade period stuff, refreshing Twitter all day. It's going to be a magnificent day. Magpies to win the flag. Magpies to win a game. Look, it's a flow-on effect, S-West. If Horn Francis gets done, Radicalia gets done, Rioli gets done, I am sitting here comfortably saying 80% chance the deal gets done. What happens with Cozzy? Stays at Melbourne for next year. We'll look at him again at the end of next year. We should try and get a ruck. We've got Teakle. And Lysette. And Vizentini's going to be good in the next few years. West Coast are being pricks with this trade right now. Absolutely they are. They're pricks in general, really. Never been a fan of West Coast. They've broken my heart too many times. Should get Tex next year. Oh, God. Keep refreshing. Some of these people are wild in terms of their trade guesses. It's too long, though, this trade period. Tex Wanganeen, actually a good target to go after. Wanganeen Malira as well. Someone I'd look at. Tom Phillips, I rated him. We need some young kids to bring in the midfield. We got Mead. Don't forget Mead is there as well. There's plenty of opportunity. You're gonna have. I think the depth, the young talent is there. Mead is a definite progress for next year. That's why we signed him for 2 years. Not a lot happening, is there? Francis is going to the Swans. Barrett reporting West Ham are prepared to let Rioli walk to the pre-season draft. Yeah. And they get nothing for him. So if they're prepared to do that, piss off out of this trade. I don't want to see it. So, hang on. I just want to see this. Oh, Schumacher. Crashing into the wall. What do you think we'll have to give up for Rioli? We should have given 27. He is worth 33. Get Rankin for a future first, future second, pick 33, Bonner and Hayes. Rankin going on the Crows. We won't get him. We're not prepared to offer that money. Need to bring in a tall forward to help Charlie out. Marshall, Finlayson, Georgiadis, Ollie Lord. Nah. We don't need a tall forward. Future's set. Josh Carter came out of retirement. Would love to see that. Rioli is widely seen as worth as a second round pick. Yeah, but that's what Barrett said. Look at this way, right? Ollie Henry, a young and up and coming star, worth probably going to be that pick 25 that Geelong have got, compared to what Rioli is, 27 years old, hasn't done much with his career, won a flag, but also 2 years out of the system, injury-riddled 2022. You're going to get 4 or 5 years out of him. So I think they're very different second-round picks, if you ask me. That's why I'd give a 33. I'm just going to tweet something out. I've just thought of something very... Yeah, very funny. Anyway, back to you guys. Sorry about that. I've just turned on Alpha Trader Asia here. David and I will say if Port have a good season, they can finish between 7th and 10th. This is what the trade radio is very, very... It's like the ultimate clickbait definition. If Rioli doesn't get to Port, I heard he won't play at Eagles next year. We'll stay in Darwin. Yeah, he'll quit. No one can place Robbie Gray that convince that. I want What? I want Wingard to return. No. It would be pointless. He won't do anything. What's our tall mixture looking like for next season? Marshall, Mitch, Dixon, Finlayson, and Lysett will play on the same side next year. One of them probably doesn't. And that's probably the issue. Especially if you get a Radigalia. But who knows? Dixon probably falls away a little bit. But it's just a wait and see on what that progresses. We've been a fairly tall side throughout, so I would suggest an opportunity will come about. How do we get Xavier's younger brother in the draft? In this draft, highly rated. Great question. Is he in this draft or is he in next year's draft? What does need to get himself in the 20? He has been on the list for a season. Why hasn't he been able to take the next step? Sometimes players just simply don't take the next step. And Williams, whilst playing in a game last year against Sydney, showcased he wasn't ready, fell away, and now he's in a position where he's probably on the verge of being delisted at the end of next year because of it. A lot to do for him. And when you've fallen out of position and get put back into a different position to rejuvenate what opportunities you can have in the side, Yeah. Don't really rate any Victorian media except Matthew Lloyd. Yep, agreed. Kane Corns is the number one bloke I go after. Are they getting bored or what on Trader to say that shit? They get bored sometimes. I think it's next year's draft for Zane Dersma. I want to get Philippou. I'd rather go for players, Craig, than Philippou at the moment. Do you think T will become a consistent at AFL level? Yeah, I definitely do. It's good to have him there as a bit of a backup. Oh, God. You need an X Factor player to replace Gray or Boak like Cozzy or Dunkley. I don't see Dunkley as an X Factor. Cozzy, yes, but I'd go after Cozzy just for purely going after Cozzy, not to replace someone. You got to think the players you're replacing, Gray and Boak, are generational players. Like, you don't get 300 games from a Boak who continues to perform at the level and the star that was Robbie Gray every draft, every trade period. Like, it just doesn't happen. That's why we've got Rosie, we've got Butters. Like, these players are those players in the future. Yeah, that's what I think. Finlayson could play a blitz half type role next year. I completely agree with that. That's fantastic. Great call on that. I'd love to see that because I think he proved that this year and unreal to see. Can't teach the experience of Boak and Gray. Completely agree. Thank you, UCAT. Not to mention that Boak has stayed loyal to this club. Boak is the prime example, and I think people in the media are realising that now. He's the prime example of a professional footballer. Not saying that because I'm being biased. It's genuinely true. Takes care of his body, knows what he needs, knows what he wants, goes after everything he can. And look at him now. He's in the USA training with the Red Bull performance team, getting his body ready for next year. Like, it's just ultimate professionalism. What are our expectations for next year, assuming the trades go down? Premiership. I'm not expecting a premiership. I think the club are expecting. That's the expectations. Realistically, 5th to 10th. Did notice Bucky starting dropping off at the end of the year. It wasn't so much dropping off. They moved him back to the half forward for a little bit, and I think that was due to the fact that Rosie and that were playing really well in the midfield. But he still had 20 odd possessions in the last game, and I thought he was fantastic. Are we looking for battery wise? Yeah, we're nearly there. What's happening on Slack? I'll read that later. Anyway, a couple of minutes, guys. We'll head off. I've got some other stuff to do, and I really enjoyed this chat. That's been fantastic. But you're in New York, 2 a.m. UCAT. That's sensational. Shout out to you, mate. You are a dedicated human being. 2 a.m. in New York. I'm glad. I don't think I'd ever expect to be having someone watch me in New York, and here we are. Rise above 30k next year. It'd be nice. We got to 50,000 at the showdown, which is great. Obviously, Robbie Gray retiring, so great to see that our last game last year was 50,000. Bloke getting a new motorised vehicle, wheelchair for 2023. He doesn't need a wheelchair, mate. He'll run rings around you. Would run rings around me. The Hawthorn game. So burned this year from the Hawthorn game. What, internally or the moon? Because it was a Saturday night game. I got burned in terms of depressing signs that our season was going to be shit. One-time Japanese Grand Prix is on at a reasonable time, and I was happened to be here. Agree. I was watching practice before. I'm going to go watch practice 2 soon as well. Amazing. Worst game of the year. By far the worst game of the year. Every other game we were competitive in. The thing is, if we kick straight, it would have been competitive. Sick, Craig. Thanks very much for joining, mate. I hope you enjoy Melbourne. Don't get too wet. I'll just check Twitter one final time, see if anything's happened. Dunkley chose the wrong club, I think. Port Premiership, Rosie Brownlow. That's what I'm hoping for. And on that note, let's end. Thank you, everyone, for watching the live stream. I know we've only been going for an hour and 10 minutes, and there's still a lot of people here. 52. I think we peaked around 65 at one stage. I really appreciate it. Good to chat about the trade period. Obviously, not a lot happening in this period at the moment on this day. I will stream again on Wednesday. Thanks for the stream. Thanks you, Matthew Kenny, for joining. Say hi to Chelsea for me. So yeah, make sure you jump aboard. Wednesday we'll be streaming throughout the deadline day. I'm not sure exactly what time it finishes, so we'll do the last hour and a half together so we can see it unfold. Very much looking forward to seeing you guys soon. I'll do another video in between. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel as well if you're new. Plenty more content to come your way. See you, Tom. See you, Carmine. Thank you very much for joining me. And as always, Port fans, come to Pear.